Hello everyone and welcome to PropWay. So after I posted the tutorial on the staff from the movie Shang-Chi, about 90% of the comments asked me to build the 10 rings from the movie. So this video will be a tutorial on how to make the 10 rings from the movie Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And I am very happy with how these rings turned out. They were super easy to make, and my main goal with these rings was to have them fit into my arm and to also make them light up. And the awesome part about these rings is that while they do glow this nice orange yellowish color, it does not use any electronics or batteries or LEDs or anything like that. And I'm sure you guys can guess how I did that, but if you're still uncertain, watch the tutorial and you guys will learn how I made them glow. And as you saw in the beginning of this video, I took these rings to Disney Springs in Orlando, Florida. And I took some pretty awesome photos and videos in front of the Shang-Chi red carpet and display stuff. So that was really cool. And if you want to see more photos, check out my Instagram at PropWay. And before we get on with the tutorial, feel free to hit that subscribe button because I will be posting a lot more tutorials and a lot more content coming up. So go ahead and hit subscribe and follow along with all of my latest content. And now, let's get on with the tutorial. So I will be using this 4mm thick foam for the main base of the rings. And here I'm just using a regular compass to trace out some circles. And I will be posting a template for these rings, so you guys don't have to trace out your own circles, but you might have to size it depending on the size of your arms. So now I'm cutting out the outer ring at a little bit of an angle. And here you just want to angle your knife at about 45 degrees, just like this. And I'm cutting all the way around. And once you have that, it should look something like this. And now you just want to cut out that inner ring at a straight down angle. That doesn't really make sense, but you know what I mean. Straight down. So this will be 1/2 of a ring. And here I'm just kind of test fitting it really quick. So when you cut out all of your rings, you should have a total of 20 individual pieces that look like this. And because 2 pieces make up 1 ring, you will have a total of 10 completed rings. So now just a quick time lapse of me cutting out the rest of the rings. And here is what you should have when you're done cutting out all of your foam. So to get the detail on the face of the ring, you want to take your X-Acto knife and just kind of score very random lines and details. Make sure you don't cut all the way through. You want to cut just a few millimeters down. And once you're done scoring it, you should have something like this. And now we're going to take a heat gun to it. And the heat will open up those lines and give you nice details. So when you're done using your heat gun, you should have something that looks like this. And we're going to do that with all 20 rings. And again, this is what you should have when you're done putting in those details. And now we are going to go on to paint. So I'm just using this bronze acrylic brush on paint. You can use a spray paint if that's easier. I just like to do a brush on. So now I just paint each ring individually. And I just coat the entire piece with that bronze acrylic paint. And when I brush on with acrylic paint, I usually do about 2 to 3 layers to make sure I get a nice, rich, even color. And here is what I have at this point. As you can see, I have 20 total pieces, which will make up the 10 rings. So now I'm going to be using this clear plastic sheet, and this is what's going to be sitting in between each of the rings that will allow the light to shine through. So here I'm just cutting out these thin strips, and because the plastic is not that thin, you kind of have to score it and then bend it and then cut all the way through. But that really depends on the type of plastic that you use. I just had this piece of plastic, in a scrap box at home, so if you can find something similar, that'd be great. So basically this strip is going to be formed into a ring, and we're going to sandwich it in between two pieces of foam, just like this. So I'm going to take some contact cement and brush it onto the edges of each ring. Make sure you're brushing it onto the bottom side of each ring. And then I take some contact cement and I brush it on to the edge of the plastic strip. And after you wait a few minutes for the contact cement to dry a little bit, you want to put the two pieces together like this, and they should stay stuck together permanently. And that's the nice part about contact cement, is that you don't have to hold it in place. Really, once you make contact with the two pieces, it'll be stuck together. So now I'm going to put some contact cement onto the other ring and onto the other side of that plastic strip. And then when you form them together, you should have a completed ring just like this. And then you want to do that with the rest of the 9 rings. And as I was building these rings, I realized that the paint started to peel off with the contact cement. So before I moved on, I added some Mod Podge to seal the paint and to give it a nice protective coat. But once you go back and finish off your rings, you should have something like this. And now a little change of scenery here, but still going on with the project. For my rings, I had 2 big rings that fit over my hand and onto my arm, but some of these other small ones could not fit over my hand. So I had to cut into the foam and make a split so that I could wrap it around my hand. And here I'm just using an X-Acto knife to cut that split. And after I added the split, I glued in a magnet onto the inside. And I will be gluing a magnet onto the opposite side, and this should allow the ring to snap shut when you put it together. And here I'm just putting a piece of paper over that magnet with some super glue just to keep it nice and secured. And when you do the same thing to the other side, you should have a ring that snaps shut just like this. So now the final detail on this ring is to add this print onto the plastic piece. So I just use a black Sharpie and I just drew some random lines, and it should look something like this. And your 10 rings are almost complete. The final step is to take these glow sticks, and once you break them, the glow stick will start glowing, and then you can just insert that into the opening in your ring. And now you should have a glowing ring. And this is really nice because you can use different colors like yellow, orange, or blue. And this is the final product. Thank you guys for watching that tutorial. I hope you learned something, and I really hope you guys try this out for yourself. And if you watch the whole tutorial, you'll know exactly the little secret that I used to get these to glow without using any electronics. Which means that instead of these orange or yellow lights, I can actually use a blue light to look more like the Mandarin's rings or Wenwu's rings. I am super happy with how these came out, and I can't wait to see what they do with the 10 rings in future movies. And now, instead of saying goodbye to you here in my basement, I'm gonna take you over to Disney Springs. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.